Loki keeps you close for the rest of the time you spend at Geroder's fortress, though he doesn't seem particularly keen to do much talking. You tell yourself that you can worry about all of this feeling stuff once the two of you have made it safely back to Utgard. Right now, there are bigger fish to fry. Well, bigger wolves to fry. Because if Loki is really as weak as he claims, and you can't imagine that he would ever pretend to be this weak, then this whole Moonhound situation is even more concerning than you'd previously believed. If the two of you don't even manage to survive the trip, then everything else is kind of a moot point. It isn't really any of your business who he marries anyway. He leaves you with the twins to pack up for the last leg of the journey, the trip through the forest that will bring you to the castle of Skadi's father. And it's nice to have a few minutes away from him, because being near him and unable to actually talk is maddening. You know he probably would talk to you if he could, but damn, he's a good actor. Sometimes you wonder if you dreamt it all up. The words, the concern, the kiss. King Loki Laufeyson has a very cold public persona. Gjalep and Greip both seem tense as they gather their things, and you wonder if they're relieved that they're going to be able to leave soon. You would be relieved too, except you can only expect things at Skadi's castle to be much worse. That seems to be the general trend for this whole adventure. Things just keep getting worse and worse. Hey, Gjalep?
Yes, mortal?
I might as well ask. See if he was telling the truth, or just trying to get under my skin. Is there a chance that you're going to end up married to the king? You're pretty sure she nearly drops the bag that she's filling, and Greip turns too, her cheeks a bit pale. Maybe you shouldn't have asked that after all.
What?
Greip says. Gjalep drops the bag onto her bed and comes to sit beside you, her hands fisted in her lap.
He has not said anything, has he? The king?
Oh crap, what do I say? It just seemed like that was being mentioned as a possibility, that's all. And I thought it would be... I thought it might be weird.
It would bring prestige to the clan.
Isn't that what Skadi is for, though? Being a forest giant on the throne? Gjalep chews on her lip for a moment, glancing to her sister for guidance, but Greip seems reluctant to speak. Finally, she sighs and relents.
One must also consider offspring in Anga. If the majority of the next generation of the royal family is from one clan, it makes things easier. The princes have many siblings who are rivals, and the infighting is tremendous.
You hadn't really bothered to pay attention to the rest of the old king's court back in Utgard, but all of the women on the dais staring at Loki with horror and fascination makes a lot more sense now. A lot of them were probably either mothers of his half-siblings or lesser wives that figured that he would probably take them for his own, which is apparently a legitimate possibility. But no other storm giants, I'm guessing? Loki... the king is the only one whose mother was a storm giant?
Yes, the only one. So you see, it is a very precarious place to be in for Loki Laufeyson.
And marrying a bunch of people is going to solve that somehow? They seem to catch on to your tone, and you remind yourself that you're supposed to be staying calm about the whole thing. It's much easier said than done.
Well, yes, mortal. That is the way that it has always been done.
You notice that Greip is fidgeting with her necklace again, though she still has it tucked beneath her tunic. In fact, you haven't seen her take it out the entire time that you've been here, just like you haven't seen her so much as make eye contact with Rostihoff. The way things are done doesn't seem to be working out too well for everyone. The mood of the convoy is one of terse excitement as you leave from Geroder's keep. You figure that everyone is probably just ready to get the whole thing over with, whether it results in Loki becoming king or him getting eaten by a monster. It's been that kind of road trip. There are no stops along the way, and even the twins, usually so eager to curl up and nap like giant cats, move about the sleigh restlessly. It's hard to tell just how much time has passed, but it feels like way too long since you slept, and you really wish that Loki would show up for a nap. Greip seems to be doing a bit better at least. Most of her color has returned, and she looks a bit less exhausted, though she's definitely melancholy. Part of you wants to ask her about Roslyhof, but you don't know how she'll react. Besides, it isn't like you're some kind of Jotun relationship expert, clearly. You don't want to inspire some kind of Romeo and Juliet scenario. But when Gjalep slips from the sleigh to jog ahead and make sure that everything is going okay with the king, it's Greip who decides to turn the topic of conversation towards relationships.
You are worried. You care for an illy mortal, and far more than you should.
She tells you, slapping one of her playing cards down onto the wooden floor. What brought this up? You ask, knowing full well that she's trying to do the exact same thing that you've been trying to do. Distract herself from her own drama by sticking her nose in someone else's.
I have seen the hurt on your face when he ignores you. It goes beyond that of a neglected pet, I think. This card has just been destroyed, but you are learning very quickly.
She says, smiling slightly. Thanks. You try to figure out your next move, shoving aside the embarrassment you feel at essentially getting called out for mooning over Loki like a lovesick calf.
Was I mistaken? If I was, then...
No. Admitting it is hard, but at the same time, it feels nice to have someone to talk to about the whole mess that your life has become. And really, what's the worst that could happen? You might be humiliated and teased if the others find out that you're catching feelings for Loki, but you doubt that they'll kill you for it. Though, knowing Skadi...
I believe that he will defeat Menagmer. I also believe that he will not allow anything to happen to you in Unga. And if my clan...
She hesitates for a moment, her pendant clenched in her fist. You wonder if she even notices how often she fidgets with it.
If my clan turns on the king, my sister and I will stand by his side. We have decided it.
Skadi's father's castle is a monstrosity of ice and stone, surrounded by a forest so dense that the light barely shines through the cover of the trees. Oh my god, I just want to go back to Utgard. Just to Utgard. Is that too much to ask? Apparently so. You're so tired of this whole damn trip. Greip pulls you aside as everyone unloads from the sleighs, bending down to whisper in your ear.
Mortal, have courage. Lord Thiazzi is very stern and very taken with the old ways. You must remember that your master is not as cruel as he may act.
Bad sign number 1. Loki barely acknowledges you when you join his entourage, which isn't quite enough to count as bad sign number 2, but the way that Skadi has plastered herself to his side is probably worrying enough to make up for the difference. Then there's the fact that as your party is escorted through the throngs of gathered giants to the main hall, the giants aren't just staring, they're openly glaring. Bad sign number 3. No one tells you to stop and wait somewhere, and you aren't about to get lost in the crowd when everyone looks pissed off before even a word's been said, so you stick close to Loki, practically tripping over his cloak. That is what he told you to do, right? To stay close to him? And so you end up marching practically up to the dais where Skadi's father, Thiazzi, sits. He's a big, big guy, and so is the younger giant sitting next to him. Neither of them look very happy, and in fact, the younger one looks downright pissed. You try to sneak another peek at them while keeping your head lowered, and that's when you notice that the younger guy doesn't have the hallmark pointy ears that you've come to associate with the forest giants. That means he probably isn't entirely a forest giant. Oh crap. That's probably Helblindi. Helblindi is massive, though he isn't the tallest of the giants you've seen by any stretch. He's built like a linebacker, broad-shouldered and muscular. You were kind of hoping that he was all hype, but the dude definitely lives up to the fearsome name.
3 sons of Lafay under my roof. 3 brothers,
Thiazzi says, his voice booming across the crowded room. Even for a giant, he's loud, and you wonder if anyone would notice if he just snuck under Loki's cloak and hid. Skadi bows her head and steps forward, the only one in the room who doesn't seem like they're waiting for an axe to fall.
Father, I formally introduce Loki Laufeyson, King of Jotunheim.
Murmuring breaks out, and you try to keep yourself from looking around the room, knowing that you would have just the bad luck to draw attention to yourself. From the sounds of things, the giants from the Ironwood must have heard that Loki was coming, but had decided to not believe it until they saw it. And they were clearly not happy to see it.
I remember when you were born, boy. Tiny thing you were.
Thiazzi leans forward on his seat, gripping the arms of his chair with heavily ringed fingers. You must really like gold.
I am no boy now, Lord Thiazzi. And if you refer to me as such again, I fear I'll have to kill you.
Damn it, Loki. No one told you that this wasn't one of the usual smiles and fake politeness situations. Apparently, it's more of a we all openly hate each other situation.
That is what Loki would have done, and I would so hate to disappoint him.
Thiazzi's weathered face twists a bit, though you can't quite make out if he's trying to grimace or smile.
So eager to be king. I've been told that you are to rid my forests of Manangam to prove your worth as king. What think you of that, Prince Helblindi?
He turns to look at the giant beside him. Where Bylister is the model of apathy, Helblindi is bubbling with emotion. Every single thing that passes through his head also seems to be passing across his face. You see his disgust as he looks at Loki, his offense at Bylister, his annoyance at Thiazzi for being called on to participate in the conversation when he'd clearly rather sit and fume in silence.
Well, if the Queen Mother and the Vulva have decided on his divine birthright, then I must hope that Menagama sees differently.
Okay, so things aren't looking great. You wonder if Helblindi knows that his kind of fiancé is scheming to marry his brother, now that he's been knocked out of his promised throne. Sucks to be Helblindi. Sucks to be Loki. Sucks to be me. This whole place just sucks.
I thought that I smelled a mortal. An Asgardian and a mortal. How fascinating.
A long-legged, gold-bedecked giant comments, sliding up near Thiazzi's seat.
My uncle, Gangr.
Skadi tells Loki quickly. Even her smile is starting to look a little forced.
The king has turned his back on Asgard, uncle. His hatred of the Aesir surely rivals your own, if it does not surpass it entirely. Odin Allfather made his entire life a falsehood.
Jotunheim will surpass Asgard in both power and prestige under my rule. The Casket of Ancient Winters will be restored, and Utgard will be rebuilt.
Tough talk for a guy who can't even manage a little warming spell. You think, even though probably half of your shivering can be attributed to anxiety. Skadi's uncle, Gangr, you think his name was, is watching you. Every time you glance up, you notice his eyes on you, and your blood runs cold. Thiazzi declares that the wolf hunting will begin first thing in the morning, and as terrifying as that thought is, you're excited at the prospect of leaving the hall and hopefully going somewhere private to cuddle up and make a plan of action. Only, nobody leaves. How long can they possibly stand around insulting each other? Jotunheim needs more hobbies.
I want to see the mortal.
Gangr says suddenly, holding out a hand. Your breath freezes in your throat.
I do as well. I have never seen a mortal before.
Helblindi adds, sitting up a little straighter in his seat. Panicking, you finally dare to look up, meeting Loki's eyes as he glances over his shoulder, acting almost as if he'd forgotten that you were there in the first place. Please, not this again, please. Mentally, you're begging, pleading, but he just looks vaguely irritated.
Go on, mortal.
You glance around, looking for someone to come to your rescue. And that's when you notice that Bylister's usually blank expression is slightly ruffled, and you don't even want to think about what that means. Gangr's hand is still extended, rings glinting on his fingers.
Come, mortal. Your master has commanded you.
But you feel frozen in place, and Thiazzi suddenly laughs, slapping his brother on the shoulder.
Loki, laugh, son. Thinks to rule our realm. And yet, he cannot even rule over a pet.
Loki's eyes flash, and you realize immediately that you've made a terrible, terrible mistake.
Take it to whatever chamber has been prepared for me, Gerodidotir, and I will deal with the disobedience later, at my leisure.
He says to Gjalep. Gjalep nearly drags you from the room, hurryingly through the hallways in silence. Seeing her act so spooked just makes you worry even more, and you're practically in tears by the time you reach his room.
In Anga, you have chosen a very poor time to embarrass the king. When he comes, you must beg his forgiveness.
She says quietly, leaning in the doorway as if she's afraid to step inside. Jesus, was it really that bad? What the hell does she think he's going to do to me?
Promise me that you will beg for his forgiveness. He is very angry.
You hear her bolt the door as she hurries to leave, and you stand there for a few minutes, stunned by the turn the night has taken. Why is he angry with you? What have you done? It's hours before Loki storms into his room, discarding his cloak on the ground as he stalks toward the bed, where you've made yourself a pretty impressive nest.
What in Valhalla is the matter with you, mortal?
He snaps, seizing the blankets and yanking them towards him, dragging you along with them. I was just afraid.
This is no place for fear. They can smell it on you.
He grabs the neck of your tunic, hauling you close, the blue fading from his skin as he does.
They can smell it on me when I feel it for you.
And then he seems to realize what he just said, and he drops you like you're on fire, his eyes wide. He's afraid for you. An admission of fear on Loki's part is unexpected. So unexpected that neither of you quite seem to know what to do. You kneel on the bed, tangled in the blankets, and watch as he paces. Back and forth, back and forth. Are you worried? You finally ask. Loki pauses and glares at you.
You do realize all it takes is one errant backhand to kill you, don't you? You have the relative durability of wet parchment.
Yeah, of course I know. I think about it all the time, in fact. Hence the whole keeping my head down thing. Oh, Jesus, you can be so...
So what?
You can be a real dick. You snap, and then you scramble back as Loki narrows his eyes and makes a beeline towards you, crawling onto the end of the bed and settling himself down cross-legged. He holds out a hand.
Come here, mortal. We need to talk.
I'm pretty sure I can talk from here, thanks. There's kind of a weird look in his eyes, and you don't feel like finding out exactly what that's all about at the moment. Not until he calms down a little bit. Closing his eyes, Loki takes a deep, slow breath, and you imagine that he must be counting to 10 or something, because as soon as he's done, he darts forward, grabbing your ankle and dragging you toward him. Major deja vu here. You're quick to push yourself up on your elbows, your cheeks burning. Seriously?
If you would just do as you're told, then perhaps we would not be in this situation.
He says, his grip on your ankle still firm. What situation? I didn't do anything. I froze up because that guy looked creepy as hell. But that's not a crime, is it?
You have no idea what's happened, do you?
He reaches forward and lifts you the rest of the way onto his lap, and you try to ignore the fact that you're now straddling him. At least you have your irritation to focus on, so that's something. No, obviously. Loki looks stern, and his face is way too close for comfort. You cave in. Okay, so I didn't obey, and I know that looks bad, but...
That is not it.
Then what is it? He sucks on his bottom lip for a moment, as if he's debating over the wisdom of actually explaining things to the pet. Honestly, you feel like you're at the point where full disclosure, or even mostly full disclosure, is a good idea. He's the one who said the two of you needed to work together after all.
Thiazzi and his brothers are ancient, as old as Odin Allfather, and very powerful. They're not easily misled. I'd hoped they would not find any weakness in me, for they are certain to make use of it.
It isn't like you don't get why that's a problem right now. A good chunk of his support comes from the fact that people are afraid of his magical powers, and the fact that he's kind of crazy. Crazy in a ruthless, destroy entire cities sort of way. So we just need it to make it look good, right? Like you punished me? He sighs, and you can practically see him reeling himself back in, the worry melting away from his features. You've never really noticed just how long his eyelashes are. It's kind of a weird observation to make, considering the circumstances. Although you normally don't have intense conversations this close to someone else's face, so maybe that's part of it.
That we will do. And it will certainly help to keep up appearances for the rest of the court. But as for Thiazzi and Gangr, the chink in the armor has been revealed. If I have any emotion tied to you, mortal, it will be exploited.
Loki's forehead rests against yours.
I cannot feel anything for you. Understand?
Yeah. You reply, and you do understand. You really can't afford to feel anything for him either. But you do. So, what's the plan? There is a plan, right? You say eventually, breaking the surprisingly companionable silence.
There was a plan, but it has been entirely derailed at this point.
He's been rubbing your back for a while, nearly lulling you to sleep, and you're pretty disappointed when he stops and practically pushes you out of his lap. You climb over the covers as he goes and digs through one of the bags that's been left near the doorway. It's cold, and you don't really want to complain about it, because you're pretty sure there isn't much Loki can do about it at the moment. You want me to scream? We can put my acting skills to work. Pretend that you're beating the crap out of me for being a terrible pet. Will that help? You ask, only half joking. There's a hint of a spark in his eyes when he turns back to you, and even though that usually means trouble, you're kind of relieved to see it.
Actually, that is not a terrible idea. A bit of sport? I suppose I could use the diversion.
He then holds up a thin band of gold, then one that suspiciously looks like a collar.
This as well.
Isn't that a little extreme? Loki gives you an extremely judgy look as he drops the collar into your lap.
I can see that my continued leniency has given you a false sense of security here, mortal. Consider this a small price to pay for your protection. Besides, I thought that mortals lusted after gold.
The runes inscribed on the collar are familiar, and you squint at them, frowning. I know that says Lokakona, and I know what Lokakona means.
Do you have a point? Lift your hair.
He takes the collar back from you, bending it open, and your eyes widen. It's yet another casual display of strength, and it's unsettling. How does he not crush you every time he moves you around? Must have very finely tuned reflexes. But you figure it's a fair move. You can consider it a prop, can't you? All the world's a stage, after all. Besides, collars are kind of in, at least in some fashion circles. This is just a temporary thing, right? It'll come off once we get back to the palace. Once everything settles down.
We will see.
He bends it around your neck, and you try to swallow down a lump that forms in your throat. You wish you could slap a collar on him. Fair is fair. At least it's pretty lightweight. Ugh, listen to yourself. Trying to talk up the pros of wearing a freaking pet collar? You look up, poised to complain, but there's kind of a funny look on Loki's face as he slides 2 fingers under the band of the collar, presumably checking to make sure it won't choke you. That's what you're assuming, even though the way he's lingering seems a little gratuitous. Your neck is much more sensitive than you've ever realized. Hey, Loki? I think the collar's good.
Right.
His hand drops away, and he looks you over, contemplative.
I could actually punish you. You have certainly earned it, after all the trouble you've caused me.
Or we could go with the whole faking it plan. I like that one. Plus, it'll look like you healed me, right? And that's extra cruel. You healing me so that I'm still functional, and it makes it look like you've got power to waste.
Impressive. I suppose you do have your moments, mortal. Come, let us act.
Loki pulls you from the bed and sets you on your feet. You're almost starting to get used to how physical he is all the time, and you wonder if that's a bad thing. There's a hint of a smile on his face as he leads you close to the doorway and then presses your back against the wall, and you suddenly find yourself rethinking the entire endeavor. Maybe if you didn't have that little mischievous sparkle in his eyes, or if he just kept his freaking hands off of your waist, you'd be able to keep your cool. But he isn't, and you're not. Well, figuratively, at least. You're very much keeping your cool in a literal sense, because the temperature in the room seems to be dropping as the night progresses. When you get back to the palace in Utgard, you might just beg to hang out in the steam pools for a few days, because the constant cold is miserable.
Go on. This is the one time you have my permission to wail like a banshee.
Loki whispers. This is so awkward. Why does Jotunheim have to be such a miserable, backwards place? And poor Greip and Gjalep are probably going to be losing their minds if they hear about this, especially after Gjalep has decided that she owes him some kind of life debt. You try to remember what one of your friends told you about fake crying a long, long time ago. Fake the motions, Think of something upsetting. That part is easy enough. You've got plenty to cry about these days. Face scrunched up, you clench at Loki's tunic, willing some tears to come to make it all extra authentic. Please, sire. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Loki looks startled, and maybe even a little impressed. You don't have much time to revel in your success, though, because he rips your hand from his chest and pins them by your head, his eyes narrowing. Okay, I guess we're getting into character now. That's cool. You think, your heart picking up the pace. He brings his mouth close to your ear. You must be the only one who's actually supposed to get overheard during this bizarre performance.
Louder.
Please!
I should give you away, shouldn't I? Let someone else deal with you.
You're kind of surprised that you can see what he's going for so easily. Surprised that the two of you seem so in sync with each other. Please don't. Master, forgive me. He clasps a hand over your mouth, and you pour as much sound as you can into a long, drawn-out shriek. Loki grins, dragging you back to the bed almost immediately.
I admit that I am impressed. I had no idea that you were such a conniving little actress.
He says as he climbs in beside you, heaping blankets on both of you. Such a patronizingly delivered compliment shouldn't make you feel like blushing, but it does. You tell yourself that you're probably just riding the waves of awkwardness from essentially role-playing with him. Well, I think it's pretty messed up that you're having to pretend to be some kind of brutal tyrant.
Do you mean to suggest that I am not a brutal tyrant?
He wraps his arms around you, and it's all you can do to not audibly sigh in relief. He may not be radiating heat, but it still helps. I don't think a brutal tyrant would pretend to discipline a slave instead of actually doing it. I don't think a brutal tyrant would throw himself off a cliff to save two teenagers he barely knows. The mirth has left his eyes, and you're sorry to see it go. You can't really tell what emotion it is that's taken its place.
Would a brutal tyrant lead a conquering army to Midgard, murder his sire, and attempt to destroy the realm of his birth?
That hits hard. Why do you keep forgetting? Or maybe you're not forgetting, maybe you're just choosing to ignore the facts. It's almost impossible sometimes to remember that he's that Loki, the one from New York. Yeah, I guess so.
Do you know how many of your kind perished when I last visited Earth?
What sort of point is he trying to make here? I do. And I get it. You're terrifying.
I am. And I don't believe that you do.
He replies, sighing and tucking your head under his chin. You wake up shaking in the middle of the night, the bed beside you empty. Immediately, your mind begins to race. Did something happen? Is he safe? Are you safe? Pushing yourself up on your elbows, you peer towards the far end of the room, dimly lit by firelight. Loki?
Here.
He's sitting cross-legged by the fire, a knife blade glinting in his hands. Jesus, why do I keep waking up to people holding knives? It really says a lot about your current quality of life. You should sleep. Tomorrow's a really big day. I know you're tired.
What woke you?
Well, it's cold. You feel like you're admitting something shameful. Sorry for my warm, squishy body, I guess. It's really cold and you weren't here, so...
You can come here, if you like.
Don't mind if I do. Dragging as many blankets as you can manage, you pad across the room, wincing as the cold seeps through your socks. Wish I had a thermometer. I want to know just how cold it actually is here.
We've actually experienced a great deal of fluctuation in the temperature. It's only near freezing now. But you are able to feel it more keenly without the charm's full effect.
What? It's been colder than this? Smiling faintly, Loki sets the knife aside and opens his arms, leaning back against one of the chairs as you settle into his lap. You have a sudden, intrusive memory of when you were a little kid, curling up under piles of warm, toasty laundry fresh out of the dryer. That's probably what you look like right now. What's going to happen tomorrow, Loki? The bigger question, the one you're afraid to really ask, still hangs in the air. What happens after tomorrow?
I assume you've never been on a hunt. We will go into the forest and track down Managam. He's apparently something of a menace, terrorizing many of the smaller forest villages. It will be up to me to actually kill him, of course.
Is that really feasible? Don't get mad, but I've never seen a giant wolf monster before, and I've also never seen you fight.
It is feasible, but that does not mean that it will be easy. It would be less complicated if not for you. I'll have to keep you with me, now that Thiazzi has taken an interest in you. Leaving you here would be a risk.
I want to go anyway. We both go down together, you know? I feel like I should be there. Is that really true? It must be. You said it without even thinking.
Ridiculous! You should not be here at all. And you're addled if you think that you have any place hunting for a walk.
Does that mean you're gonna send me home sometime soon? Loki falls silent. Ha! Checkmate.
Stay out of my way. When we are out there, mortal, no matter what happens, you are to remain wherever I leave you. Do you understand? You are not to interfere in any way.
Yeah, like I would voluntarily try to take on a monster alien wolf. Yeah, right. Okay. You're warming up a little now, though you can't imagine that he's very comfortable in this position. Going out in the snow tomorrow is going to suck. Then you remember that you haven't really had anything to eat either, and you're just about to ask for some breakfast.
If I die tomorrow, you should throw yourself upon the mercy of Bilister. His interest should be enough to keep you shielded from the others for a time. And Heimdall might eventually spot you and send aid.
You aren't going to die. Don't say that.
Well, I certainly hope not, mortal. But it is best to plan for contingencies. If I survive, as I plan to do, then things are going to get very complicated, and quickly. There will be no choice but to accept me as king. And any who dare to oppose my throne at that point must be dealt with, and swiftly.
Helblindi. You're worried about Helblindi. You say, rubbing your cheek against the fabric of his tunic. It feels nice. A little rough, but nice.
Worried is a bit of a strong term. But yes, Helblindi seems troublesome. I am relying on Farboti and Skadi to keep him in line. If he has no support, then perhaps he'll be too fearful to make a move against me.
This is exhausting. All this drama. Bed? You yawn. Your capacity for middle-of-the-night scheming entirely used up.
You sleep. I'm fine as I am.
You're pretty sure he didn't sleep at all, based on the dark circles under his eyes and the way he's pacing about the room when you wake up a few hours later. It's like someone who stays up all night studying for a really important final exam, only much, much worse.
I have food for you. Finding a way to feed you in the hall with the others seemed complicated, and I thought you might prefer the privacy.
You thought right. They'd probably expect me to eat scraps off of the floor or something stupid like that. You tell him, shoving the covers away and rushing across the cold floor to put on your boots. Loki's smirk is teasing, but tired.
Likely so. And to think, you once protested eating from my hand.
I was still processing how screwed up this whole human pet thing is. I still think that, by the way. Not a fan of being a human pet.
I know. Eat.
Your appetite isn't exactly fantastic, despite the fact that you should be starving right now. It must be the nerves. Is this a hard-boiled egg? You ask suspiciously, picking one up from the bowl on the table and hefting it in your hand. It's big. Like, really big. And kind of weirdly elongated.
I believe so, yes.
Well, that's not exactly convincing. Expecting it to taste weird or bitter or fishy, you're a bit shocked when it tastes exactly like a normal egg. It's probably best that you don't know what kind of freakish alien creature it comes from, you decide. Ignorance is bliss, after all. And is this milk supposed to be pink, or...
There are berries crushed in it for flavoring. I've had some. It's surprisingly good.
It reminds you of watery yogurt. Not too bad. A little more tart than you'd like your milk to be, maybe, but not too bad. Have you eaten?
No, I will dine with the others. Eat, and then we will freshen up. You should always look your best when meeting your destiny, you know?
Freshening up doesn't turn out to mean a full bath in this case, and you tell yourself that you aren't actually disappointed. Really though, you're already courting disaster. Might as well get naked one last time before you potentially get eaten by a monster. Girl, your priorities are getting really messed up. You really aren't a fan of how judgy your inner voice has been getting lately. The hall has been arranged with 2 long tables down either side, while you're with Loki at the head of the table, in full view of the entire room. There are a lot of curious looks aimed your way, and you're pretty sure you notice a few double takes at the collar around your neck. He decided to keep you right at his feet, which you're pretty grateful for, considering the fact that there are a bunch of mangy, lion-sized dogs fighting over bones in the middle of the floor. Truth be told, you would scramble right into his lap if you thought that you'd be able to get away with it. You're also grateful that Bylister is sitting on the other side of you, because you're at least relatively certain that he won't decide to just randomly squash you for the heck of it, which seems like something Helblindi might do. But despite Loki's best efforts to make it seem like you're not really worth mentioning, you keep getting brought up in the conversation. Gangr in particular seems way too interested for comfort.
What good fortune you have, Loki, Larface, son. To not only have found a mortal in your possession, but to have found a female, and one so young.
God, what a creep. You internally shriek, practically clinging onto Loki's leg. All at once, you remember all of the comments about mortals being kept around to warm beds, and you remember Loki telling you that Gangr is really ancient and skeevy, and you remember how tense Loki had become as soon as he took notice of you. Hell, how tense even Bylister had become.
Fortune favors me.
Loki puts his hand on your head. Maybe when he gets all of his magic back, you can ask him for a charm that would let you punch people twice your size without breaking your hand. Some of these giants definitely need a solid punch or two.
She looks mouthy. It's all in the eyes, you know. You can see when they are thinking. The last mortal I had, it was nearly 2 millennia ago now. Bitter little creature she was. Spiteful. They need discipline.
Gangr continues, and even though you're hidden from seeing him, his grating voice makes your skin crawl. Helblindi speaks up from the other side of Bylister, curiosity evident in his voice.
What became of yours? Did it learn?
Alas, no. The full thing tried to flee. The dogs got her. A waste, really. And then the war started, of course, and our supply of mortals dwindled.
He says, and you see Bylister sneak a peek down at you. It's clear that he's heard this story before. Poor woman, you think, your stomach churning. Imagine being here with no magical savior, no support. Throw yourself upon the mercy of Bylister, Loki said. Now you understand why. On the spectrum of creepy giants, he isn't looking quite so rough these days. Thiazzi laughs from the other side of Loki. Again, too close for comfort.
I will never understand why some of them try to flee. An exercise in futility. You must keep a close eye on that one.
Perhaps you simply do not understand how to handle mortals, as mine has never attempted to evade me. In any case, I have more pressing things on my mind.
Such as being devoured by Managamra?
Helblindi asks, and you hear a dull thwack as he slams his mug down onto the table.
You have never even left Jotunheim, have you, boy? It is easy to speak boldly while you still cling to your mother's skirts.
So says Loki Odin's son, who all the realms know clung so tightly to the skirts of Frigga Allmother.
You can feel his temper swell, but he settles back into his seat instead of lashing out, his legs splayed wide. His casual power stance. You're growing weirdly attracted to that.
My prince, there is no call for these squabbles.
Silence, Skadi. My quarrel with my brother here is just. Or have you forgotten so quickly that I am meant to be king?
It is time. You weren't expecting to hear Heidor speak, and apparently no one else was either. Silence then falls. It is time to go forth and seek Managarma. The Valva has spoken. You're clinging to the mane of a very shaggy, massive pony, with one of Gjalp's arms wrapped around your waist. A fall from this height would be extremely unpleasant. You really wish that you got to ride with Loki, though maybe it's best that you aren't with Loki, considering he's the one most likely to get caught up in a battle sometime soon. The woods are eerily quiet, and every cracking branch and errant whistle of wind puts you more on edge. You'd imagine that there would be a whole hunting posse sent out into the forest to hunt for this monster wolf. But no, it's just Loki, you, Gjalp, Bylister, and Rossihoff, who is still looking a little under the weather. All of the other giants hung back at this huge hunting outpost at the end of the road. You guess they must be waiting to see if Loki crawls out of this one alive. Where are we going? How does he know where to go?
Scent. And Illy is tracking his scent, I'd expect.
The ground starts to slope downwards after a while, and there are a few ragged spires of rock jutting up through the trees here and there. Based on your limited knowledge of topography, you assume that you're probably headed towards another river. Don't wild animals usually hang out near water sources? It is the easiest place to find prey, and this giant wolf will probably consider you prey. Eventually, the horses stop near the edge of a steep dip in the terrain, one that looks particularly tricky to navigate. You're shaking like a leaf, partly from the cold and partly from the stress. There's a little bit of a sixth sense warning you that something in the woods isn't quite right. Maybe it's the fact that there aren't any other animal sounds.
There's no need for the rest of you to come any further.
Loki frowns. He swings down from his horse, resting his hand on the hilt of the dagger in his belt as he edges closer toward the rocky ditch. There's also a knife strapped to his arm, just inside the sleeve of his tunic. You know this because you're the one that put it there. No magic this time. Only the man. To say that you're worried would be an understatement.
The cave is further along the creek bank. He is certain to be near.
I know. There are benefits to being a sorcerer, little brother.
Loki takes a little bottle out of one of his saddlebags and takes a swig. He then grins. You're going to have to talk to him about all of this potion drinking he seems to be doing lately. Then he heads down into the creek bed, without so much as waving goodbye. It feels like it's been a few hours waiting for some sort of sign, but according to Gjalep, it's only been a few moments. No one is doing that much talking, which makes the whole thing seem that much more ominous. A howl suddenly rings through the woods, startling you so badly that you nearly fall off your horse. Rossihoff slides from his saddle, giving his own pony's flank a reassuring pat.
That is no wolf. That is Loki Laufeyson,
He declares. Another howl comes only a few moments later, and his face is grim.
That is manic armor.
It isn't exactly difficult to hear when the snarling starts, or the trees cracking as something, or someone, presumably crashes into them. It's too much. You have to see. He could be dying, not very far away, while you just sit here. You're tired of waiting around helpless. I want to get down. The howling seems to get louder as soon as you say that, and your adrenaline is cold in your veins.
I understand that you are concerned in Anga, but the king has given me strict orders, and besides that, it would be the highest dishonor to interfere.
Being tiny has its advantages, and you manage to duck under her arm, tumbling to the ground. The snow breaks most of your fall, but it's still extremely unpleasant. Move, move, move. He needs you. Maybe the giants expect you to run away from the danger. Maybe that's why it takes them a moment to react. And in that moment of delay, you run towards the sound, skidding and slipping on the icy stones that lead to the creek bed. You hear a snarl of rage that's most definitely Loki. You recognize it anywhere. Somehow you know that he's hurt. You don't question how you know, you just run.
Stop, mortal!
Bylister shouts. You're probably going to get in trouble for ignoring a royal command later, if you survive. You round a sharp corner and nearly tumble off a sharp drop-off. It's most likely a waterfall when the water is really flowing. Below you is, well, you don't really know what you were expecting. It's a wolf. A really big, really angry-looking wolf. Your head is filled with a string of curses. The thing's got to be at least 10 feet tall at the shoulder, maybe taller. Its ears are pressed flat against its head, and it's snarling, circling Loki in a weird sort of dance. There are bones everywhere. This must be where it drags its meal back to feast. Loki's hands are empty. That's bad. There's a knife stuck in Managarmer's shoulder, also bad. Where's the other one? Why doesn't he have the other dagger? The wolf darts to one side suddenly, and that's when you spot the glint of the other knife, lying on the icy rock near the entrance to the cave that the wolf must call home. Crap, 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 crap. And there's blood in the snow, at least some of which must be Loki's, judging by the way he's clutching his shoulder. Without his knives or his magic, what has he got left? It isn't like he can just wrestle the thing to the ground. He feigns to one side and then rushes forward. He's trying to work his way closer to the knife, and somehow, Managarmer seems to realize that too. The wolf's lips peel back in a snarl, and you can only tell by the way he's pawing at the snow that it's gearing up to pounce. One bite with those teeth. You've got to do something. You jump to your feet and wave your arms. Loki will get to the knife in time, right? Too late to back down now. Hey! Hey, wolf! You yell, and you nearly faint when the wolf's head snaps towards you, its shiny black eyes narrowed. Loki glances up at you then, his face full of pure, abject rage. No time to worry about that now. There are rocks everywhere, and in your moment of recklessness, you decide that throwing one at the monster wolf makes about as much sense as anything else that's happening right now. Managarmer's growl rattles the snow from the trees as it stalks towards you, its hackles raised. One good jump, and it could probably reach you. You stagger backwards, and then crouch to feel for another rock. Not that the first one actually did anything, but still. Turning to run seems like even a worse idea, because it's not like you can outrun that thing. And then, Loki leaps onto his back, burying the second dagger into the thick fur at the base of Managarmer's neck. It seems to be more of an annoyance than anything else, but it does distract it from you for a moment, and it throws Loki from its back and charges toward him, its maw gaping. Loki thrusts his bare hand forward, ice appearing from seemingly nowhere to encase his arm in a long blade as the wolf's momentum carries it forward. You scream as its teeth clamp down on Loki's arm, but then it staggers back and collapses into the snow, blood pooling around its mouth. As for the king, he's on his knees, his arm hanging uselessly by his side, dripping melting ice and blood into the dirt-churned snow. You practically throw yourself down to the basin floor, rushing towards him. It worked. It worked. He did it. Oh my god. You say, your hands fluttering uselessly around the gory mess of his arm and shoulder. It's okay. We can fix this. Just... He grabs your wrist with his free hand, yanking you close.
I told you to stay away.
You're pretty sure he's just getting started, but the other giants rush to the basin then. They must have been waiting for either Loki or the wolf to die, which is a pretty stupid set of rules in your opinion. Gjalep wrests you away from him, and Rossihoff tears off a strip of his cloak and is just beginning to bandage the wounds when Loki slumps to the ground.
Go, carry the word that Loki Laufeyson is victorious, and that he is injured. Have healers ready for him.
Bylister says.
Yes, sire.
And Gjalep, tell no one that the mortal interfered.
She nods, and despite your protests, she throws you over your shoulder and hurries back to the ponies.
They will watch over him. Please, Inanga, stop this struggling.
You're tossed across the saddle, and then she climbs up behind you, and the breakneck ride back to the outpost begins. It's chaos after that. When she delivers her message to the giants at the hunting outpost, Gjalep turns to ride for Thrymheimer. Apparently, she's considered to be one of the faster riders around, and so the unfortunate job of delivering news of Loki's success to Thiazzi and the rest of the court falls to her. You're pretty worried about how they'll take it. You're also starting to worry that maybe leaping out into the snow without one of Loki's extra strength warming charms to keep you safe wasn't such a good idea. Because that sleepy, fuzzy feeling that you had when you first met him in the cave is starting to set back in. It's the worst possible deja vu. Gjalep, I think I'm freezing to death, you say, trying to sound as calm and collected as possible.
What?
Freezing to death. It's pretty bad. You repeat, wrapping as much of her cloak around you as you possibly can.
Oh, by Helblindi, will the trials of this day never end?
She cries. She cradles you closer to her with one arm, leaning forward as the horse speeds across the ice and snow.
Hang on, Inanga. We are very nearly there. Just hang on.
You're left bundled up in front of the fire in Loki's room, instructed to not move until someone comes for you. Really, you're too cold, stiff, and aching to move even if you wanted to. What the hell were you thinking? using yourself as bait for some freakishly enormous wolf? And you apparently interfered in some sacred rite, which is a big enough deal for Bylister to try to cover up. Loki is going to kill you. But if you had done nothing, he might not even be alive to kill you. So at least there's that. When he storms into the room hours and hours later, his arm heavily bandaged and his eyes flashing fire, you instinctively try to scramble to your feet, tripping awkwardly as the blankets tangle around your legs. Loki! Oh, thank God, you...
I told you, you wretched little thing, to stay where I left you. Did I not?
He stalks closer, and you take a hesitant step backwards.
You have interfered with my fate. You have disobeyed me yet again. And you've very nearly gotten yourself eaten.
He's in your face, and there's really nowhere left for you to go. The stone wall is right behind you, and judging by the vibes you're getting off of Loki, he isn't about to let you wiggle away. I saved you!
You should by all rights be dead now, mortal, for your ceaseless stupidity.
You raise your hands to shove him away, an instinct that still remains strong, despite how futile you know it will be. But before you can do anything, he lunges. Loki's long fingers are wrapped around your jaw, and you're starting to grow concerned that he might have forgotten that you're not quite as sturdy as everyone else on this godforsaken planet, because it hurts.
Go on, mortal. Strike me, I beg of you. Give me yet another reason.
He snaps, his crimson eyes sparkling. Your hands wrap around his wrists as he pushes you back against the cold stone wall. His teeth are bared, and he looks slightly unhinged. So maybe that's why you panic. Instead of doing the smart thing and going limp, and maybe even begging for forgiveness, you flail out and kick him in the ankle. It couldn't possibly have hurt him, as invulnerable as he seems to be, but Loki lets out what sounds like a curse, his eyes narrowing, and then he hisses your name, and then his lips crash into yours. For someone who typically seems so exact about everything he does, it's a surprisingly messy, urgent sort of kiss. His teeth scrape against your lips, his tongue pressing into your mouth. You could swear that his hand is burning your skin as his grip softens, sliding from your jaw and down to your throat. This is one of the things you'd feared from the beginning, isn't it? This crazy god king deciding to take advantage? Only... Loki breaks away, his hand still holding you against the wall, and you never imagine those crimson eyes could look quite so lost. When he finally speaks, his voice is strained, but surprisingly soft.
Kiss me. Must I order you?
No. I'm afraid, and something flickers in those eyes then, but his expression hardens before you have a chance to wonder what that might be.
Of me? Good. You should be.
And maybe it's because your brain is still a little scrambled from the suddenness of the kiss, or because you can tell he's about to start ranting again, and you really aren't in the mood to listen to it. No matter the cause, when you reach up and seize him by the hair, he lets you pull him forward without any struggle. And when you kiss him, you guess he must be in shock, because it takes him a second or two to respond. Loki drags you with him as he stumbles back towards the bed, hissing as he lands on top of his injured arm. It doesn't seem to distract him for long, though, and as you fall on top of him, he cradles your head and guides your lips back to his. He smells so good, like sweat and snow. Those aren't even things that you knew you liked, and now you can't imagine ever getting enough. Please don't stop, your mind whispers. If you stop, he might never kiss you again, and right now, that's one of the worst things that you can imagine. You wish that his arm wasn't injured, and that he could touch you. You wish that you weren't wearing a million layers, because feeling his skin pressed against yours suddenly seems like the most desirable thing in the world. Brushing his hair aside, you pepper kisses down his jaw, his throat. Loki makes a strange sound and slides his hand down to your lower back, pressing you against him. Okay, so he likes that. He really likes that. When kissing his neck earns you another appreciative roll of his hips, you sink your teeth into his skin, and Loki groans.
Wench. Disobedient.
Tugging your hair, he pulls you away from his neck, capturing your mouth again.
Disobedient little wench.
He continues as soon as he breaks away, his eyes dark. You like it. You whisper accusingly, twining your fingers in his hair.
Perhaps, if you'd been eaten, I never would have forgiven you.
He fumbles around for the covers, dragging them over your back, trapping you in the warmth. Same. He's exhausted, and you're exhausted, and you rest your head on his chest, smiling slightly at the way his heart is pounding. Mine too, you think. When you wake up the next morning, the first thing your sleepy eyes focus on is Loki, standing half naked in the middle of the room. Only, it isn't Loki. There's two Lokis, one blue, one pale, and they're frowning at each other. You yelp and scramble back against the head of the bed, and blue Loki turns and crooks his finger at you, the frown still firmly in place.
Come here, mortal.
Oh, he's pissed. You can hear it in his voice, that overly polite, I'm going to stab you and smile while I'm doing it tone that sends shivers racing down your spine. But it's either get up of your own volition or wait for him to drag you from the bed. So you gingerly climb to your feet and pad over to where he stands. What is that? You whisper. Asgardian Loki, because you don't really know what else to call him, is identically dressed, or rather, undressed, and he looks kind of bored. Bored, but irritated.
A double. The chamber has no mirror.
Loki snaps, waving your question away as if you were an annoying gnat. Wrapping his long fingers around your arm, he yanks you closer, pointing to his double's neck.
Explain this.
Blood rushes to your face. That's a hickey? You venture, trying to be hopeful, though the twins' words from the day of the coronation echo in your mind.
A mortal pet attempting to mate mark a king? He would snuff you out like a candle.
The grip on your arm tightens, because it clearly isn't just a hickey. It's very obviously a bite mark. And bizarrely enough, it's slightly raised from his skin, almost like an old scar.
How did you manage this, girl? Were you given something? Have you been caught up in some Stormy-Jotner pranks?
He gives you a rough shake, and your heart feels like it's about to beat out of your chest. I don't... You falter, lost for words, and you meet his gaze, hoping that your wide-eyed confusion will at least convey your innocence. I don't know. I didn't think I could break your skin. I mean, I didn't break your skin. He's glaring down at you, and your arm is really starting to hurt. Great, another bruise. Except at the moment, you might have a lot more to worry about than accidental bruises. Come on! You plead, desperate for him to see that you're even more baffled by this whole situation than he is. You're basically made of granite. I'm immortal, remember?
Oh, I remember.
You're hurting me. His hand drops away at once, and the double fades.
There is some magic in this, but I cannot tell.
Words seem to fail him, and he turns to pace.
Do you realize the effort it takes to scar me?
Yes! I'm freaked out too, okay? Maybe we should ask the Velvet...
No, we are not discussing this with anyone. No one's helped me. I live in a cursed life.
Great, you think, feeling a little sullen as you rub the feeling back into your arm. I guess we aren't going to make out this morning then. You really know how to make a girl feel special, you know that? Loki covers his face for a moment or two, pressing his temples.
My apologies. It is common for warriors to return from a battle seeking another outlet for their remaining bloodlust. And I should not have used you. It was irresponsible.
What the hell is he saying? What is this? Some kind of courtly morning after dismissal? Are you...
It won't happen again.
Your temper curls in your chest, surprisingly potent. Do you have that speech memorized or something? It might work on some random chambermaid, Loki, but it's not going to work on me.
I am giving you the benefit of the doubt that this was not intentional. Do you really think it wise to test me now, mortal?
He snaps, pointing at the bite mark. You glare at him, biting back words that you'll probably regret later, and he glares right back.
I will have one of the twins fetch you.
Loki is across the room in only a few long strides, and he pauses by the door for a moment, his back towards you.
It would be best to keep your distance.
Then he's gone, and you feel the tiniest bit of a crack beginning to form in your heart. Greip eventually comes to get you, but instead of taking you to the hall where you figure everyone else must be gathered, she leads you to a room not too far from the one that you've been staying in with Loki. She seems a little awkward and stiff, and you hope it's just because there are servants and guards in the hall, and not because she's upset with you for some reason. At the moment, you could really use a friend. She practically slams the door closed once you're inside, leaning against it with a heavy sigh.
Oh, in Anga, what a day this has been.
Is everything okay? I mean, with the king? Is there a reason I'm not... The look on her face is making you anxious, so you trail off, wrapping your arms around yourself. Am I just going to hang out here then?
Oh, mortal, I saw it.
Oh crap. You're pretty sure you know where this is going, but you decide to play innocent. Saw what?
You bit the king.
She whispers, moving away from the door.
You marked him, and he is not married yet. Do you know what Lady Skadi will do if she sees?
I didn't...
There is no use pretending. I know it was you. The king never smells of any woman but you. I did not even know that the bond would take with a mortal.
Her eyes widen suddenly, and you flinch on instinct as she unwinds the scarf you've got wrapped around your neck, pulling open your cloak and tugging at the neck of your tunic.
Has he not marked you?
What? No! But something flutters in your belly at the thought of his mouth on your throat, and you imagine that you're going to just melt into an embarrassed puddle of goo on the floor.
I am baffled by this.
Greip declares, still frowning at your bare skin, like she's expecting something incriminating to just suddenly pop up.
This is not how things are done, and you are not even a Jotun. By the Norns, does this say Loki's woman? Oh, what is he thinking?
Now you're definitely blushing.
I am sorry, Anunga.
The embarrassment on your face must have been interpreted as something else, because Greip looks like she's starting to get emotional.
It must be terrifying for him to use you this way, and we heard of how he punished you the night prior to the hunt. I do not understand it. He seems so protective of you.
Oh my god, what do I say? You really don't want to make her cry over nothing. We were just... That wasn't serious. We were just fooling around. You managed to squeak out, struggling to keep a straight face. That doesn't appear to have cleared anything up.
But if he's not...
He kissed me! Last night. And now he's acting like he wishes he hadn't. Greip just gawks at you for a moment or two, and you wonder if maybe kissing is a bigger deal here than it is on Earth.
In Unga, this attachment that you have with the king, it is not wise. Loyalty is one thing, but to nurture feelings that cannot be returned is folly. You will only cause yourself more misery in the end.
She finally says. Her hand is clasped around the pendant on her neck. You decide to let it go. What's going on now? It sounds kind of rowdy out there. You're pretty sure you can hear drumming coming from somewhere, and there has been a lot of footsteps running up and down the hall outside the twins' door for the past few hours. It isn't exactly relaxing.
There is feasting to celebrate the death of Menagemer, and to honor the new king, of course.
Most of the people here didn't seem like they'd be super eager to honor him.
How can they do otherwise? In his victory, he shows that he is the rightful king, his fate woven by the Norns. Moreover, the court will wish to integrate themselves with him now, especially as this is the Queen Mother's clan and that of the princes.
And he doesn't he want me there? You feel kind of pathetic for mentioning it, but she already knows you're attached to Loki, so what does it really matter in the long run? Usually he likes keeping me close.
The king thinks it best for you to stay here, for the time being. I believe that he's hoping to keep you away from the others for your own well-being, truthfully. And considering the fact that you've marked him, well, I do not know what to expect in Unga. These are very strange times.
She stretched out on her side on the other end of the bed, a pillow hugged against her chest. And suddenly, you can't help but conjure up memories of slumber parties and sleepovers long past. Typical girl talk, right? Kings and giant wolves and human pets and forbidden feelings. Speaking of forbidden feelings, have you talked to Mostafafar any? Since everything happened, I mean? Greip isn't a very good liar. Her eyes widen suddenly, and she bites her lip.
Why would I?
Well, he did jump off a cliff trying to save you. And there's the whole fox thing. Figured you'd want to talk to him about all of that. Ask him why, or something else, maybe. Her cheeks start to turn slightly lavender. You have talked to him, haven't you?
He has approached me, yes.
You smile, hoping to be encouraging, or supportive at least. The twins are almost becoming something like friends. It's a little weird, but nice. There's some genuine trust there, and it's something you'd like to nurture. And? Come on, there's no reason not to tell me. I'm the weird little human, remember? No one cares what I know or say anyway.
That is not entirely true, as you have the ear of the king himself. But I will tell you this, Unga. The boy vexes me,
she replies, rolling onto her back. Definitely getting slumber party vibes. How come?
He represents his clan and the honored Volva, yet he completely lacks decorum, and his interest in me is entirely unwarranted. A Stormer Jotner and a skin changer at that? I cannot imagine what my father would say if he knew, or even Lady Skadi. I do not know how to dissuade him.
Why is that such a big deal? I thought all the clans mixed and mingled anyway, for alliances and stuff. There seem to be all kinds of giants in Utgard.
The royal court is different, and the enmity between us and the Stormer Jotnar goes back many millennia, rekindled once more when King Lawfate forsook his betrothed and took Gunlod as his queen instead.
Wait, he was supposed to marry someone else first?
Yes, Queen Farboti had been promised to him. The breaking of that vow led to many centuries of grief for Jotunheim.
Jesus, it's like a soap opera. The king causes chaos by running off and marrying the woman he loves instead of the one he's supposed to marry for the good of the kingdom. The girl dies. You still haven't heard how that supposedly happened, but it seems increasingly sketchy. And the original betrothed ends up on the throne. And his firstborn son ends up growing up on a different freaking planet, believed to be dead. It's okay to like him, you know. On Midgard, things used to be more like that. More strict about who could be together. And they still are in some places, I guess. But love is a special kind of thing. And if you're lucky enough to think that you might be able to find it with someone...
No. Oh, no, mortal. This is not... You do not understand. It is not practical. That is not the way of things on Jotunheim. Any inclinations one might have are fleeting, and it is best not to dwell on them.
You're lying to yourself, you think, but you keep your mouth shut. How can you talk? It isn't like you're some sort of expert. You're the idiot who made out with a crazy supervillain who once wanted to conquer Earth. You don't exactly have room to call anyone else's priorities messed up. And besides, she's right. You don't understand. How far would the clan really go to keep her from being with the storm giant sorcerer? Maybe you should take a page from Greip's book and reel in your emotions a little. The two of you play some card games, and then you read for a little while. But it's really, really difficult thinking of anything other than Loki, and how much you want to both chew him out and kiss him again. That ass. I saved his life. You think, your irritation mounting as the hours pass. Greip leaves you at some point to bring you food, and as you pace, you realize that you feel more like a prisoner now than you have at any point thus far, even including when he first dragged you out of that cave and you realized that you were stuck on real-life Hoth for the foreseeable future. By the time you've eaten, you feel like you're about to lose your mind. Hey, Greip. It's pretty late now, isn't it? Can I go back to Loki's room to wait for him? Frowning, she puts her book aside.
I do not think...
And then you can spend some time with the others, you hurry to say. And, you know, he always wants me around when he's sleeping, so I'd much rather just go to sleep there. Plus, there's guards and stuff, so I'll be safe. To be perfectly honest, you aren't entirely certain about that last bit. But you do want to be there whenever he gets back from the celebrations. Maybe he'll have cooled off a little and the two of you can sit down, or cuddle up, and figure out this whole mate marking thing. Maybe you'll actually get an apology from him storming off in the morning like he's ashamed of you.
Well, I suppose that is true, but you do not wish to have company?
I am pretty tired, honestly. Lies. You're practically crawling up the walls, you're so antsy. I just want to sleep, and I don't want to get into any trouble if I'm not where I'm supposed to be when he comes back to bed. That's not entirely true either, but you can see the hesitation in her eyes as soon as you mention getting into trouble.
Very well, Inanga. You may wait for the king in his chamber.
The fire is starting to die down a little, and you've run out of logs to add to it, so you're bundled up and sulking hours later, when you finally hear noise outside of the door. Too much noise for Loki, actually. You stand as the door opens, and you were right. It isn't just Loki. It's Loki and Skadi. The charming, fake smile leaves his face as soon as he sees you, his eyes narrowing.
You... What are you doing here?
She's clinging to his arm, leaning into his side. For a moment, you forget how to speak, caught somewhere between disappointment and anger. This is your room, sire. Where else would I be? You finally manage to say. Skadi laughs.
Such a loyal pet you have, my king. Come.
But then she moves to step further into the room, but Loki doesn't budge. He's still glaring at you, like you're the one who's somehow in the wrong here. Was he seriously bringing her back to his room like some sort of...
Sire?
She prompts, tugging on his arm.
Leave me, Skadi.
He says, still standing stock still just inside the doorway. In fact, now that he isn't leaning against her, he doesn't look incredibly steady on his feet. Is he slurring his words a little? Is he really drunk right now? Or just about to faint from exhaustion? Damn it, Loki. Is he trying to get himself killed? At first she looks confused, and then pissed. Her eyes catch some of the light from the fire as she turns to glare at you. Apparently, glaring at the mortal is the theme for the evening.
Sire, I do not mind if the mortal...
I said leave, Lady Skadi. I am in no mood for company.
Of course.
She nods in the barest hint of a bow, and then all but storms out of the room, and Loki pulls the door closed behind her, bolting it shut. For another moment or two, he doesn't move. Loki looks almost small as he stands there, the blue fading from his skin, revealing just how bruised and marred he remains from his battle with the wolf. His arm is still bandaged too, which must mean that he hasn't actually been able to heal himself. That's probably why you're still basically freezing too. He's just making it all up as he goes along. What was that? You ask, your voice a little more wobbly than you'd like. After last night...
It is to be her.
He interrupts, his face surprisingly forlorn, though the expression only slips for a moment or two.
My queen.
Waving you away, he moves towards the bed, where he collapses with a tired sigh. Your heart stops. It's official?
Might as well be. Her clan is large and well-connected. Her father is wildly rich. And placating the Skadi Jotner will ensure that at least a few less knives will be aimed at my back.
His forearm drapes across his eyes, and as you go to kneel on the bed by his side, you notice that there are bruises mottling his ribs too. Things must have been going pretty rough with Magnamar before you showed up.
It will be declared soon enough. Might as well get it over with.
You peer down at him in the dim light, your heart still racing. There's anger there, of course, but mixed in with it is an odd urge to protect him. The collar of the leather vest he's wearing is covering his neck, and you tug it out of the way as he moves his arm, meeting your gaze. So, that's still there? You say. Loki just watches you, and you tell yourself that you're probably more than a little crazy as you throw your leg over his hips and straddle him. Sending up a prayer to anyone who's listening. Let's hope he doesn't finally kill me.
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Being your human pet, I guess. You're poised so stiffly that he could probably breathe on you and you'd fall over. Why did you decide to do this again? But you can't look away from the mark on his neck. And so you lean down and kiss him. Only once, softly, and your fingers trail along his throat, brushing over the barely raised lines that your teeth have left on his skin. You can feel his breath catch, his body tense, and you manage to pull yourself away from his lips.
Stop.
He says. His irises bleed into crimson, but he says it in an odd whisper, and his eyes flutter closed. So you continue tracing over the raised lines with your fingertips.
I said stop, wench!
Now it's a snarl, and he snatches your hand away.
You have started something that you do not understand, and you would do well to hear me now, lest I finish it.
You don't understand it either, do you? At least not really. That's why you're so freaked out. And because you want to finish it, whatever it is. Don't you? The sound he makes could best be described as a growl, and you flinch slightly as his fingers dig into the blankets by his head. What the hell am I doing? You think once again, heat flooding through you. Oh my god, why did I decide to climb on top of him? Kiss him again. Don't worry about talking. Just kiss him. Some other part of your mind urges.
You have no idea what you are doing. There is some spell at play here. There must be.
It's not just that. You know it's not. He needs no further convincing, apparently, because he suddenly wraps his arm around your waist and pulls you down to him, and he doesn't even seem to notice the way that your chin smacks against his, or the awkward grunt you make as you topple. He's too busy trying to devour you. You aren't really sure how he manages to roll you over before you've even had the chance to realize what's happening, but he does, and you find yourself pinned down beneath him, your bottom lip between his teeth. Okay, that was definitely a growl. Part of you is a little freaked out, but the other part, the main part, is cheering and waving pom-poms on the sidelines. But then he pulls away, sitting back on his heels as he glowers down at you, his teeth clenched and his muscles taut. He closes his eyes, taking one long, slow breath, and then another. The crimson is gone when he opens them again, but the conflict isn't.
Go to sleep, mortal.
Loki finally says, and then he moves away and curls up on his side, his face turned away from you.
Before we find ourselves with even more regrets, just sleep.
You stay awake for a good chunk of the night, long after Loki's fallen asleep beside you. There's one word that keeps circling around in your head over and over and over, and that word is regret. What is it, exactly, that Loki regrets? Keeping you alive, maybe? Taking over Jotunheim? Trying to take over Earth? Or is he just ashamed that he's slumming it up with a mortal, showing some of the most vulnerable parts of himself to someone he considers inferior? Does he consider you a downgrade? Not up to his standards? No, you don't think that's it. You tell yourself that it's not. It doesn't make sense. Is it the loss of control? The confusion? That seems more likely. He makes a sleepy, satisfied hum when you wrap yourself around him, and you tell yourself that he's right. You should just go to sleep. There's no point in torturing yourself like this, and as fickle as Loki seems to be, well, who knows what tomorrow will bring. Tomorrow brings monotony. You're bundled back into your sleigh before the cold sun of Jotunheim has even managed to fully drag itself over the horizon, and the caravan sets out for the return journey to Utgard with surprisingly little fanfare. Greip and Gjalep are both subdued. You wonder if they're worried about what will happen when you make it back to the palace. Loki doesn't join you. You haven't seen Loki in over 2 days. At least you think it's been 2 days. It's kind of hard to tell. He's with his brothers, the twins tell you, and with the Velva and Skadi. There's a tiny flicker of jealousy in your chest at that, and it's easily drowned out by worry because you can't imagine that Loki and Helblindi are off to a good start, at least as far as brotherly love goes. Gjalep seems relatively worried too. She leaves the sleigh to sprint ahead to check on things fairly often, and there are occasional long stretches where it's just you and Greip. "Hey, Greip?" you ask during one such occasion, feigning nonchalance as you flip through the pages of the book that Bylister had left for you. "Does Gjalep know about the whole, the kissing thing? And the mark?"
She does. I thought it best to tell her, in case of any complications.
Complications? What complications? Your mind races, wildly chasing down a million different worst-case scenarios. Things you've seen in movies, read in stories, or conjectures based on your short time on Jotunheim. I'm not going to die or something if he doesn't bite me back, right? Or spontaneously combust if another guy touches me? Greip just gives you a strange look.
Well, no, mortal. Of course not. But it is incredibly shameful for the king to have such a mark from a thrall, and particularly a human one, and especially for him to have acquired it while he is supposed to be courting a noble lady.
Oh, it's not magical? That doesn't fit well with the fact that it exists in the first place. There's no way that it should even be there if it isn't some kind of magic.
Such things do not require satyr, if that is what you mean. If you were fully bonded, you would feel it. I do not know how to explain it, and obviously I have never experienced it for myself. You'd best be thankful that Ili has chosen to keep his distance.
We are taking a different route,
Gjalep declares, shaking snow from her hair as she pulls the sleigh door closed behind her.
above the canyons. It will take us 3 more days, likely, but that is why we will not be stopping at our home again.
She doesn't seem to be overly bothered by the idea of not seeing her parents, and Greip looks downright relieved.
This pace is mad. Will we be stopping soon to refresh? It is very harsh on the animals, and I do not want Hornbury and Vermuley to take injury.
Is it that? Or are you truly more concerned with seeing the Seder Verandi?
Sister!
Gjalep shrugs one shoulder, then settles cross-legged beside you.
If you do wish to have words with him, you would be wise to do so before we reach Utgard. You heard, Father. Lady Skadi will ask the Queen to begin looking for prospects for us. Besides, the Stormayatna are not likely to stay long in Utgard, unless King Loki wishes to cause even more strife with his father's court.
I have nothing to say to Rosbehoff.
Yeah, right. Just like I have nothing to say to Loki. As the sleigh rumbles along, there isn't much to focus on other than the fact that life sucks. How much longer can you think of this as a crazy adventure, rather than a "this is my life now" sort of scenario? Is time even passing the same way on Earth? God only knows how long you've actually been here. The authorities have probably already told your family that you're most likely dead. That thought turns your stomach. It helps to imagine how ecstatic everyone will be when you're finally home. If you ever get home. Bored and restless, you keep turning back to look at the picture of the mortal woman in the annals of Vidrungr. Vif, wasn't it? You wonder what ended up happening to her. It was probably nothing good, considering she must have spent enough time around the giants for one of them to paint her. Did she die young? Stretching, you grimace. Your back aches, and your muscles are stiff. Stupid about Loki? You think, massaging your neck. Screw him, leaving me here like this. He's probably cuddled up with Skadi. That insidious bit of jealousy trickles through your veins, stronger than you must have expected. Calm down, dude, you think. But even though you tell yourself that there's no good reason for you to feel so angry, you can't seem to help it. The mental image of anyone else touching him.
In Unga? Are you well?
Gjalep says, a hint of worry in her voice. Startled from your sudden temper, you realize that you've got a white-knuckled grip on your book. You probably look like a maniac, glaring off into space. Sorry, I was just thinking about things with the king. The twins exchange a look. And it's really cold. You hurry to add, hoping that it's a better excuse for why you're so miserable. The magic to keep me warm is wearing off a little bit, I think. It's been days since the last time he fixed it.
I will let him know when we have stopped. It should not be long now, I think. Will you be able to manage until then?
Yeah, I guess so. When Greip wakes you up, the caravan must have already been stopped for a little while, because there's a few large fires already crackling along on the rocky ground outside of the sleigh. It isn't snowing, which is a blessing, though the wind is cold and bitter. What makes these rocks so blue? You wonder, grimacing up at the tall, precarious-looking spires that seem like they might crack and crush you all at a moment's notice.
Over here.
Greip says, and it doesn't escape your notice that she leads you to a different campfire than the one the Storm Twins are already sitting at. The ground is slippery, and you feel like a newborn deer as you cross the icy ground on shaking legs. There are a few small stone huts nestled at the base of some of the spires, and giants are coming and going through the open doorways. You don't see Loki. Greip gets you settled onto a log by the fire, then drags a few blankets out of the sleigh, wrapping them around you with careful precision. It's sweet. It's the sort of little thing that makes you feel like the twins genuinely care. Your eyes almost tear up a little. Damn, why am I getting so emotional? Stew seems to be a pretty popular dish on Jotunheim, and a metal pot is brought out from one of the huts and hung up over the fire. You try not to pay too much attention to the ingredients that are dumped into it. It's probably best not to know, and you really can't forget the face of the sea serpent that was spread out on the banquet hall back in Utgard. Could be worse. I could have run into one of those things while it was still alive. The other giants who settle in around your cooking fire are all from the Forest Giant clan. You're getting better and better at distinguishing all of the subtle variations as the days pass. Even their eyes have more shades than you really anticipated. Initially, you'd be too freaked out just by the concept of red eyes to notice all of the different hues. Greip and Gjalp's eyes are really more of a maroon, while Loki's are more of a straight crimson when he's in full-out Jotun form. The super pale hair is still a mystery, though. So far, you haven't seen anyone other than the Valva and the Storm Twins with white hair, other than the Witch King in your book. Maybe it's just a storm giant thing, though none of the other giants traveling with them have it, and you're assuming they're all from the same clan. The storm giants seem pretty merry, even though it's been evident from the beginning that most of the court doesn't want to have them around. In fact, they're laughing and talking loudly enough that you can hear them from where you're sitting, even though you can't make out any of it. It almost sounds like they're speaking in rhyme. Gjalep notices you looking over your shoulder.
They are flighting. Is this done on Midgard?
That's the insult thing, right? She looks like she's holding back laughter, so you guess you must sound pretty unsophisticated.
It is. It is a poetic duel. You should ask your master, for Loki Omstanga is called so, in part, due to his sharpness when flighting.
I think that used to be a thing on Earth, a long time ago. Now we just have rap battles.
Rap?
It's a kind of music. Hey, did you mention to the king that I'm freezing? It's getting pretty bad, even with the fire and blankets and everything.
He is hidden away in some discussion with the princes. I left a message with one of Lady Skadi's thralls. I am certain that he will come to you soon in Anga,
She says, pointing towards one of the huts. Oh, okay.
Here, eat. It will make you feel better.
The smile she gives you as she hands you a wooden bowl is encouraging, and you try to return it, even though you're shivering and kind of pissed off at Loki's continued absence. And she's right. The stew is hot and salty, and it does help a little bit. Some of the giants around the fire are chanting, but the mood is genuinely subdued. Is it because you left so abruptly from the forests? In contrast, the giants at the fire behind you are clapping, and while Greip seems determined to ignore the commotion, you can't help but turn and look. Mostafafar has pulled out what appears to be some kind of stringed instrument from somewhere, taking his place at the center of the storm giant fire ring with an exaggerated bow. Whatever the instrument is, he tucks it under his chin and draws his bow across the strings, and you notice a few more of the giants at your own circle have turned to watch him. He plays for a moment or two. You're a little surprised that he's actually good at it, and then he starts to sing. His voice is nice, and has a playful sort of lilt to it. And a few of the storm giants laugh when he presses his hand to his heart, reveling in overdramatics, and Heidor is grinning. "What are the words to the song?" you whisper.
I do not know. It is some tribal tongue.
Greip is frowning, but she finally turns around to look. Mostafafar begins to play the tune again on the thing that you're just going to go ahead and call a fiddle, and then he glances up and winks in your general direction. When he starts to sing again, it's in a language that you can understand, and judging by the lavender blush on Greip's cheeks, so can she.
A beauty walks in shadow 'neath the forest's snowy boughs. Oh, lead my love to seashores far, where we may take our vows. May the Norns guide her to roam, to her lover far from home. I know that I can win her heart, oh Lofin, show me how.
Laughing, he bows to the audience of his fire circle, and even some of the giants from the other circles join in with a few scattered cheers. Jesus, this guy isn't exactly being subtle. Though maybe it's just because you know where to look, it doesn't seem like anyone else has noticed the slightly stricken look on Greip's face, except for you and maybe her sister. The Norns are like the Fates, right? But who is Lofin? You ask, your voice still hushed. You jump as a hand comes to rest on your head, and it's Loki's voice that answers.
An Alcinia, the Asgardian goddess of forbidden love. An interesting choice to invoke.
His voice is fine, but his verses are poor,
Greip declares. Abruptly, she stands and stalks off, and Gjalep seems torn between running after her and keeping an eye on you. Loki is still standing behind you, his hand on your head. You're really tempted to smack him away.
Don't let your sister wander off. We will be leaving here soon.
She hesitates for a second, then nods and hurries after Greip, and you're left alone with a bunch of unfriendly giants who don't really know you and him. Can he tell how mad you are? How hurt? Part of you really hopes so, even if it's petty.
Come, I will restore your charm.
You push yourself to your feet and follow him behind one of the sleighs, just slightly out of view from most of the camp. Even though you can feel his gaze on your face, you stubbornly keep your eyes locked to his chest, even when he brushes his knuckles against your cheek. The magic sparks and causes you to shiver. At least you hope it's just his magic. You do feel warmer, though.
You're cold?
Of course, sire. Sighing, he slides his hand to your neck, and the warmth increases. Guess he's getting his powers back then. As frustrated as you are with him, you're also a little annoyed that he isn't dragging you off to the sleigh to cuddle up. Maybe he's getting enough attention from Skadi. He's still got his neck covered. Has she seen it? Has anyone else? The fact that he's basically got your teeth branded on him makes you feel weirdly possessive. Almost proud, if you're being completely honest with yourself. And maybe even a little smug. Huh. Did not realize I was into that. You think, startled by the realization.
Are you feeling well? Look at me, mortal.
I don't want to. You whisper, wrapping your arms around yourself. You expect that he'll tilt your chin up and make you look at him, like he's done so many times before. But he doesn't. In fact, Loki doesn't say anything at all. The warmth spreads across your skin and seeps into your bones like a warm, cozy blanket, shielding you from the cold wind. Somehow, though, it doesn't even come close to matching the heat that you feel when he's wrapped around you. There's a lump in your throat. Are you coming back to our sleigh? You ask, your voice hushed in the hopes that no one else will hear. Loki flinches, barely, but you feel it all the same.
No.
You hang your head, and his hand drops away from your skin. The magic worked. You're warm again, but you'd almost rather feel the cold. It fits better with your mood.
Go back to the fire. Stay with the twins. We will reach Utgard soon. 3 days, 4 at most.
Nodding, you turn away, wondering why your chest suddenly feels so hollow.
Mortal,
You freeze in your tracks, but you don't look back.
it's for the best.
If only you believed him. The caravan barely makes any other stops on the way back, and when it does, the twins usually just rush you out of the sleigh to take care of the necessities and then right back in again. Most of your meals are eaten on the road, and you're starting to get really, really tired of jerky and green crackers. At least Greip has some dried berries to mix things up a little. You almost hope that there's a feast when you get back, and even though you feel guilty for wanting it, you daydream for a minute or two about being curled up in Loki's lap at the head of the table. Right where I belong, where everyone can see that he's mine. Some insidious part of you whispers. Groaning in frustration, you rub your temples. This craving you have for him is weird. And you've never felt this way about any guy before, even in the throes of your worst crushes. This is nuts. He's hot, sure, and we've been through a lot together, but this is too soon. It hasn't even been a month, I think, and he's a total dick. It feels like it's been years. Gjalep hasn't mentioned the mate mark any, but she's been watching you like a hawk, and so has her sister. It's got you feeling even more jittery. What are they expecting? Do they think you're crazy or something? Or are they worried that Loki is going to get rid of you once you're back in Utgard? As the prospect of being back in the palace draws closer, you can't hold back any longer, so you finally ask, "What's going to happen when we get back to Utgard?" The twins share a look.
We do not know, Inanga. Loki is king of Jotunheim now, by blood and deed, so we can hope that things will remain peaceful. As long as Queen Forboti continues to support him, everything should be fine.
But what about me? Do you know? Has he said what's going to happen to me?
No. I assume that things will be the same as before. I cannot imagine that he would keep you anywhere but his own chambers, given your value.
My value as a person? Or does she mean my value as a pet? How is that going to work anyway, if he's planning on getting married? But then you remember what he said about wives having their own chambers, and your heart plummets even more. He wouldn't dare to keep you in his room, coming and going as he spends time with his wives, would he? You're aching and sore by the time your sleigh reaches Utgard, and you're in a pretty foul mood to top it all off. Everything hurts, and you've been jostling around in this stupid box for what feels like an eternity, tormented by your dreams of Loki, and his stupid mouth, and neck, and eyes. The twins usher you into the palace as the rest of the convoy begins to unpack, and you don't even manage to catch a glimpse of Loki. I want a bath. Can I take a bath? You grouse, too exhausted to care that you sound like a petulant little kid.
Of course. I could use one as well. Then we will find something to eat.
Something fresh, maybe?
I will see what I can do.
Once you've had your nice toasty steam bath and gotten dressed in a new change of clothes that Loki must have made for you, since they actually fit pretty well, the twins bring you back to their room. Your dinner mainly consists of some of the tuber things you've had before, thinly sliced and salted. If I try hard enough, maybe I can pretend that these are chips, you think. Unfortunately, that seems to be beyond the scope of your imagination. They're way too soggy. At least it's something other than that dried meat and soup. I'm so tired. Can I go to bed? You tell them, rubbing your back. The trip must have really done a number on you.
Yes. The king has not given us any instruction to keep you elsewhere, so we can take you back to his chamber, if you wish.
Greip says. The fact that she phrases it like a question, like they're giving you a choice, makes you smile. Yeah, that would be nice. There's a fire already burning in Loki's room when you get there, which is nice. They must have sent someone to freshen it up and get it ready for his return. The guards at the door give you the side eye when the twins let you into the room, but they don't say anything. Alone again. Naturally. Oh, God, what a depressing song to have pop into my head. You feel a little sick, and you figure it's probably from everything your poor body has been through over the past few weeks. Maybe it's from all of the emotional mess, too. Maybe it's a side effect of being kept under the influence of Loki's magic for weeks on end. Curling up on the bed, you burrow under as many blankets as possible. The bed smells like him, and while it makes you feel safe, it also fills you with a terrible sense of longing. Is he even going to come back here tonight? Is he going to come back ever? Or is he going to hide you away here and keep pretending that you don't exist? I can't live like that. You think, on the verge of tears. I can't. I'll beg him to send me home. I'll make him send me home.
Mortal?
Loki's face is right in front of yours, and his eyes are wide. You blink up at him, confused. Is this a dream? He starts peeling back blankets, and you roll up on your side, groggy. What?
The guards smelled blood. Now I do as well. It's yours.
A string of curses flies through your head as the realization hits hard, and you try to wrestle the blanket away from him. Stop! I'm fine.
But...
The aching, the cramping, the exhaustion. I'm an idiot. I can't believe this happened. How long have we been here? Since you found me?
Almost 3 weeks.
He frowns, the blanket still in his hand. It's that time of the month. You say, heat flushing up your neck. Can you get a girl, please? Though, God only knows if the twins will be able to help. Do things work the same way for frost giants? Will they even know what to do? Even if they don't, it can't be any worse than having Loki staring down at you, his irritation visibly increasing by the second.
Month? What of the month?
I guess that's not an expression on Jotunheim. Or Asgard. The menstrual cycle? Loki cocks his head slightly. Okay, that's not working. Girl things? Just say it. For heaven's sake, you're a grown woman. Get it together. It's the female reproductive cycle. It's at that point in the cycle when I bleed. I'm sorry, I didn't realize...
Mortal women experience this monthly.
Loki looks at you like you're crazy. Oh my god, I keep forgetting that I've got a thing for an alien. Is that not a thing where you're from?
Not, no. It is very infrequent. Every few years at most.
He starts tugging on the blanket again.
Are you certain?
I'm certain. You wrap your arms around the blanket, hugging it to your chest, and Loki's frown deepens. Look, this is incredibly embarrassing, okay? Like, worst nightmare material.
Is that so? Worse than being trapped in Jotunheim? Worse than being my little mortal pet? Or facing Monaghan?
Yeah, it actually might be.
There is no reason to be bashful. I have some training as a healer, you know. I'm hardly appalled by the notion of blood.
Loki adds after a moment, finally releasing the blanket. Is he trying to be nice? You can't decide if that helps or hurts. Thanks. You're definitely certain now. The math adds up, and you're cramping pretty bad. Is Advil a thing here? Maybe a heating pad? I didn't exactly pack for the trip, so what am I going to use?
Calm down.
Loki crouches by the bedside, his hand on your knee. He looks like he wants to say something, but he's struggling to find the words.
I'll send one of the twins to you. You, in pain?
Yeah, kind of, but I can deal with it. He just looks at you in silence for another awkward moment, and then he sighs.
I will return later tonight to check on you.
Don't act like you actually care.
But I do. You know that I do.
He actually has the nerve to look hurt, and you want to shove him away. Loki stands, fidgeting with his fingers.
You barely know me, mortal. If you did, you would understand that I'm acting in your best interests, not only my own. You agreed to trust me, did you not? Trust me now.
A lot has happened since then.
I suppose.
He looks like he's going to say something else, but then he shakes his head.
I will be back. Rest. Try not to dwell on the things that you cannot change.
Somehow, when he leaves, you feel even worse than before. It takes some convincing to get Gjalep and Greip to understand that things on Earth are different, and that you aren't actually dying. Apparently, it's something that they've only had to deal with a handful of times in their entire lives, so they seem pretty baffled at the idea of it being a semi-regular occurrence. You can't help but feel a little bit jealous. You're absolutely mortified, but they're nice enough about it. They help you get everything cleaned up and taken care of, although they're a little perplexed at the fact that they're supposed to bring you back to Loki's room.
Usually at such times, a woman stays in a room apart. It is considered polite.
Well, I'm a human. I'm guessing nobody's too worried about my manners, you know?
True enough, in Anga.
There are fresh blankets on the bed by the time you get back. In a weird way, it kind of sucks, because you miss the Loki smell, even if you don't want to admit it. Curling up, you rub your stomach a few times, wishing that you had something fizzy to drink. Sanitary products on Jotunheim are apparently several decades behind those on Earth, so you basically had to belt some cloth monstrously around your waist. It really doesn't help with your misery. You consider waiting up for Loki, but eventually you give up. Besides, with how he's been acting lately, he might not even show up. The fire burns low, and the night grows colder. Burrowing deeper under the blankets, you fall asleep. The bed dips, and you stir as the covers are pulled aside.
Shh. It's only me. Sleep.
You squint over your shoulder. In the dark, you can barely make him out. The discomfort is strong and sharp. You wonder if the cold is making it worse. I don't feel good.
I know.
Loki pauses for a moment, and you bury your face back into the covers and curl up more tightly. Maybe if you go to sleep, you'll feel better when you wake up. The blankets move again, and you feel him slide into the bed behind you, curving against your back. He's warm. It feels good, and you sigh in relief. The tunic you're wearing is loose, and he pulls it up, placing a hand on your bare belly. That feels good too.
You'll be fine. Sleep.
He's gone when you wake up the next morning, and if it wasn't for the scent of him still clinging to you, you might have thought that you had only dreamt it. For most of the morning, you're left all alone in Loki's room, which is fine by you. Your cramps are pretty strong, you feel bloated and miserable, and you really just want to sleep. Sleep and chocolate. Hot chocolate. God, this planet makes you crave hot chocolate. It's starting to become a real problem. He isn't coming back. It would really be best for you to just accept that and try to get on with your day, but you can't. It would really help if he didn't act so sweet sometimes. That's what's got you really messed up. If he was just terrible across the board, then you could at the very least hate him and be glad that he's staying away from you. But the fact that he spent half the night rubbing your stomach kind of makes that impossible. You wonder if he just didn't sleep at all, or if he just has some sort of internal alarm clock that helps him sneak away in the morning before you wake up, sparing him any awkwardness. They both seem equally likely, considering that it's Loki. Gjalep stops by for a moment or two to escort you to the bathroom and leave some food for you, but she's off again almost immediately, and she seems pretty preoccupied. You wonder if maybe tensions are running high in the royal family now that the former future king of Jotunheim is back in the capital. When the door scrapes and slides open, you sit up in bed, expecting, hoping, that Loki has decided to come check on you and maybe even snuggle up for a bit. But it isn't Loki. It's Bylister. He saunters into the room, the door sliding closed behind him, and your pulse pounds. How did he get in? Does Loki know? At first, he simply looks at you, his head cocked slightly, expressionless.
So, Inunga lives.
You nod, petrified.
There were rumors to the contrary.
Some confusion creeps into Bylister's eyes, and you realize that he's probably smelling you too. Great. No wonder giant women hide out when they're dealing with their periods, you think. You're starting to think that sounds like a pretty fantastic approach. Bylister comes and sits at the foot of the bed. Your heart is in your throat. What the hell is he doing? Loki is going to lose his freaking mind. And why is he here?
Are you dying? I am sure it would make Lady Skadi happy, if that is the case.
What? No. No, sire, you quickly reply. He frowns.
Then what?
I am not explaining the intricacies of the human reproductive cycle to another frost giant, you think, pulling your blanket up to your chin. It's just a human thing. It happens every month, sire.
Ah, another mortal weakness, I suppose.
Yeah, sounds about right. You don't know if you're supposed to say anything, or just stare back at him as he studies you, wishing he would just go away and leave you alone. Of course, if you were a little more sure of what was going on in his head, you might have the nerve to ask him how things are going on in the throne room. He probably knows better than anyone how Loki and Helblindi are getting along.
It would be a shame if you were to die. I doubt Jotunheim will see another mortal for many years. And I've only just begun to study you.
He finally says. He crosses his legs, resting his chin in his hand.
Of course, if my esteemed brother is to be believed, we will soon be able to traverse the 9 realms freely again. What do you think of that?
It depends, sire.
What does it depend on, mortal?
If you're planning to go to war, I guess.
I should like it, I think, if Midgard fell under the rule of Jotunheim. You should hope for this as well. If you were kept there, you would be much better suited for the elements, wouldn't you?
What to say to that? I want to go home, but not if it means my whole planet is going to be enslaved. You wonder what he's thinking. Whatever it isn't showing on his face.
You are not as servile as Loki Laufeyson would have us believe. There are still thoughts of rebellion in you, of escape. Isn't that so? I did not realize that mortals were so tenacious.
You open your mouth to respond, then close it again, unable to think of a safe response. Of course I want to rebel. Of course I want to go home. Who wouldn't?
I know that the king was with you last night, but I also know that he has largely set you aside. I suppose it is to ease Skadi's mind. If he does not want you, then I would be happy to accept the burden of your care.
He stands and moves to the door, and you just sit there, completely dumbfounded.
You may tell him that I said so,
he says, and then he's gone. Crap. What the hell just happened? You think, sinking back down into your nest of blankets. Loki's eyes are practically glowing when he storms into his bedroom a few hours later, the door slamming open and making you jump.
Bylister was in my chambers, wasn't he?
He snaps, stalking over to you. Well, yeah, you answer, too irritated to be as intimidated as you probably ought to be. It's kind of your job to keep everyone out of here, isn't it? What exactly was I supposed to do? He takes a deep breath, likely about to launch into some sort of tirade, and then his eyes narrow.
Why does my bed smell of my brother, mortal?
Because he sat on the foot of the bed. Loki's got a look in his eye that isn't entirely sane at the moment, and you aren't sure what to make of it. Hello? Everyone here is a giant, remember? Remember how you said I'm basically supposed to just smile and nod?
And did you smile for Bylister?
He leans over you, and you feel a surge of a jealous temper flash through you. No more than you smile for Skadi, you hypocrite. Loki bares his teeth.
Careful.
Oh, and by the way, he says he doesn't mind taking care of me if you're done with me now.
Did he?
His hand is on your neck. There's no pressure, just a light sort of caress, his thumb stroking the hollow of your throat. The sudden shift in his expression leaves you reeling.
I'll have to make it clear that I am not done with you then, won't I?
He's kissing you before you have the chance to offer your opinion on the subject, crowding onto the bed and bracing himself over you. You should probably be pissed, but the jealous, increasingly unnerving side of you is gloating instead. Take that, you big idiot. Can't stay away, can you? Because, somehow, you know that he can't. And you don't want him to either. Twining your arms around his neck, you pull him closer, your discomfort momentarily forgotten. You bite his lip, and he makes a frustrated little groan, whispering something you don't understand. What was that?
You're going to be the death of me.
You aren't entirely sure if he's answering your question or just making an observation, but it only makes you want to be closer to him, and you kiss his chin, running your fingers through his hair. He lets you pull him down so that his mouth is on your neck, and you feel like you're catching on fire when his tongue slides against your skin. Loki, please. You aren't even sure what you're asking for, but you just assume that he'll understand. And maybe he does, because he tears himself away from you immediately, breathing heavily. Loki sits back on his heels, wide-eyed, and you push yourself up, already missing his weight. Loki?
I think that should suffice.
He says, his hands curling into fists as they rest on his thighs, as if he wants to grab hold of something, but doesn't think that he should.
You are mine, and all of Jotunheim knows it. If my brother, if anyone, tries to interfere, there will be consequences.
What, including your eventual wives? Loki glares at you, and you realize that that look is still there.
Anyone.
What do you regret? You ask, suddenly desperate to know.
What?
You said that you didn't want to have more regrets last time. What do you regret? Cozying up with a human? His jaw clenches, and you wonder why that would make him angry.
No.
Then what?
I regret that I've given you a reason to think that you care for me. I regret that I have allowed you to develop these feelings.
Then send me back to Earth! Send me back to Earth, because I can't keep doing this and not feel something, and neither can you!
No.
A strangled cry of outrage escapes you, and you heave a pillow at his head, but, of course, he easily avoids it. Why not?
Because I want you here, you stupid creature!
Oh, you don't know what you want. But you better figure it out fast, buddy, because this whole hot and cold act is getting really old.
I beg your pardon.
You heard me. Apparently, I'm a pretty hot commodity anyway. Jesus, even freaking Bilister is more consistent than you are. Suddenly, on the verge of tears, you curl back up on your side, dragging the blanket up to your chin. I don't even feel good. Just leave me alone. Doing your very best to ignore his presence, you squeeze your eyes closed, that always lingering sense of despair closing back in. You're going to absolutely lose it. How long can you be reasonably expected to deal with this? You feel him move away, and you're caught somewhere between relief and disappointment. But then he sits by your side, his hand on your hip.
I want you. I do. But do you really want to be irrevocably bonded to me in a world where you're nothing more than a pet? Because that is what is happening, mortal. You can feel it, can't you? I feel you. And we have yet to even...
Loki cuts himself off, frustrated, and you open your eyes and peer up at him. Is that why I'm so angry?
I have no idea. It seems to be an insidious sort of influence. It's becoming increasingly difficult to tell when my own temper ends and yours begins.
God. That sucks.
If we resist temptation, it will fade. I'm sure of it. I refuse to believe that such things are capable of dictating my fate.
Got any proof that it will? Loki doesn't reply. I'm okay with it. You tell him, resting your hand on his. Is the bond the reason his skin always seems to feel warmer now too? I know this whole place is messed up and I hate that, but it isn't like you're forcing me to be your sex slave or something. Your cheeks are heating from the awkwardness of it all, but you force yourself to push through. I genuinely like you. Sometimes. Isn't that what matters?
You shouldn't. That is what I keep trying to tell you.
But you're not willing to send me back? Loki looks away, and you see the muscles in his jaw tense. He looks back down at you.
No.
You trail your fingertips along the back of his hand, watching as his eyes flutter closed. But this isn't working. So, what are you going to do, Loki? There's a stirring of affection in your chest, and of dread, and you don't know who it belongs to anymore. Maybe it doesn't even matter.
I don't know. I don't know.
Loki ends up spending the next few hours curled up around you, his hand warm on your stomach. Neither of you say a word. What can you really say? You can't ask him to give up his throne and run away to Earth with you. He's basically public enemy number 1. You can't ask him to risk losing everything by starting some sort of cultural upheaval, because you don't think you can bear to hear him refuse. It's better, you decide, to just enjoy this moment of peacefulness for as long as you can. You can't bring yourself to regret biting him, even if the mark and the bond are terrifying and inexplicable. You're glad for it. He's yours. But does he like it? You wonder, suddenly suspicious. Is he the reason I feel so possessive? Or is it the other way around? Maybe that doesn't matter either.
I have to go. I did not plan to linger for this long.
He says eventually, his lips against your hair. I'm that irresistible, huh? Loki concedes, pressing his nose against the back of your neck.
Yes. Yes, I suppose you are.
He doesn't make any grand confession of love, and he doesn't actually kiss you again, but you're pretty sure that you've struck some sort of fatal blow to Loki's icy composure. Because as the week passes, he becomes increasingly attentive. You aren't sure if it helps or hurts to come to the realization that he's trying to be gentlemanly, in his own convoluted sort of way. It's nice to know that he has some qualms when it comes to taking advantage of your position as his pet, but it also makes him seem even more appealing somehow. That's what makes it so frustrating. At night, he crawls into bed beside you, and in the morning, he tucks you in as he slips away. You don't know if he realizes that you wake up every time he leaves, but you do. It's becoming harder and harder to imagine sleeping alone in your bed back home. The twins visit, though they don't stay for long. They'll come to escort you to the bathroom or to bring you more clothes or food, but even then, you can tell that their thoughts are elsewhere. How are things going out there? You ask Greip one afternoon, nearly a week after you've returned to the palace. Loki hasn't been super forthcoming about how the courts reacted to him being confirmed as king, but you don't know if it's because he's trying not to worry you, or if he just doesn't feel like talking about it.
Well enough. The king has been consulting with his court, preparing for the reconstruction of Utgard.
He's rebuilding the city?
That is what he claims he will do.
Greip frowns, seemingly lost in thought.
He claims that he can return the casket of ancient winters to Jotunheim. If he does, Utgard will be restored to its former glory.
And you don't think that he can?
It was taken by the Asgardians long ago. I cannot imagine how he intends to recapture it. He does not have enough support to launch a war against Odin.
What about things with the princes?
They are tense. Prince Helblindi does not venture often into the throne room unless the Queen Mother demands it. He is angry that the Norns have denied him a throne, and likely angry that his mother and brother did not stop it as well. You should be careful of him, Anunga.
Seems like solid advice. Do you think the king is ever going to let me out of here? You ask, only half joking. You're starting to wonder if Loki's solution to his problems is just to lock you away in a little private sanctuary, accessible only when and if he's in the mood for you.
I believe so. It is my understanding that you are here because of your condition, in fact. You would be subject to quite a bit of attention if you were in the throne room. The king already very nearly came to blows with Prince Bylister over his curiosity.
What? Greip's voice drops.
Perhaps I am not supposed to tell you, but Gjalep was with the king in the archives when he summoned Prince Bylister to him, and she said that he threatened to turn him into a serpent if he ever entered his chambers again uninvited.
But
the prince knows better than to argue. It was undoubtedly foolish for him to enter the king's chambers and to threaten the king's property. Still, I would agree that Loki Laufeyson has made the right choice in keeping you away from the others for a time. Things are very delicate.
well, my condition is nearly over for now. You tell her, still vaguely amused by the fact that they still don't seem entirely convinced that you don't have some sort of terrible wasting disease. So, do you think he'll let me out of here soon? I know it's scary out there, but I'm going a little crazy in here.
Perhaps.
Hey, Greip, is it, with the bite mark stuff, is it normal to feel things? Like, feelings that aren't necessarily yours? Her eyes dart immediately to your neck.
And you say that the king has not marked you?
You rest your hand on your golden collar, suddenly self-conscious. No, of course not.
What are these feelings?
Your embarrassment grows. Maybe you shouldn't have said anything. Well, when he's angry, I'm angry. When he's jealous, I'm jealous. Or maybe it's the other way around. I can't tell. I didn't even realize it was happening.
This is most odd in Unga. I will admit, bonds such as these are rarely discussed in my clan. They are merely a practicality. You understand? It is known that you will find a connection with your spouse to better meet their needs. A satisfactory marriage increases the prospect of prosperity and children. But as for the details, these are the sorts of things that are discussed during the coming-of-age ceremony, which I've yet to have.
Great. Well, is there like a book or something?
Even if there is, I doubt that it would be applicable to your situation, mortal. Perhaps you should ask the king if he can remedy this with his magic?
Yeah. Maybe I will. When Loki comes back to his bedroom that night, you're wide awake and waiting for him. He looks startled to find you awake. Is it really that late? You push yourself up on your elbows, flooded with relief to be with him again. Hey.
Are you feeling better?
He strips off the leather vest that he's taken to wearing, and you watch in fascination as his skin shifts. He's so... He says your name, and you realize that you just kind of zoned out. Awkward. Huh? Yeah, I'm feeling better.
I'm glad to hear it.
It's kind of nice to see that Loki is capable of being awkward too. There's conflict in his eyes, though, and as he hovers just inside the doorway, you realize that he must have been using the fact that you were feeling crappy to excuse coming back to sleep with you every night. And now that he can't tell himself that, it's a necessity. I'm really cold, so you should probably hurry up and get in bed before I freeze.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm. He's wavering, you're sure of it, and so you hold out your arms. Come on, Your Majesty. Even kings need sleep, you know. Loki sighs, but he climbs into bed beside you anyway.
Oh, you are a terrible pet. Far too bossy for my taste. Why could the Norns not send me an obedient woman, at the very least?
I hope you realize that you aren't very convincing.
I was. You've clearly ruined me.
He pets your hair for a minute, and then he seems to realize that you weren't just kidding about being cold, because you feel his magic melt into your skin, warm and soothing.
We will be going on another journey. I think that you will like it.
He suddenly says, resuming his petting. Really? Your stomach knots in anxiety, but Loki, oddly enough, seems pretty calm, and that's somewhat soothing. Where are we going?
To Asgard, the realm eternal. The All-Father's vault contains something that now belongs to me.